History is usually loud. It sounds like bombs. It sounds like cheering crowds. It sounds like screaming on the floor of the stock exchange. But the end of the American empire in the North, it was quiet. At 2:14 p.m. today, Mark Carney walked out of the West Wing. He didn't stop for the cameras. He didn't shake the press secretary's hand. He didn't even look back at the building. He got into his car. The convoy moved. And within 4 minutes, 70 years of diplomatic protocol was incinerated. Inside the Oval Office, Donald Trump was reportedly still shouting. Outside on the trading floors of New York, Chicago, and Toronto, the silence was breaking. The Canadian dollar didn't crash. The U.S. dollar did. The S&P 500 didn't rally on American strength. It tanked on American isolation. Donald Trump thought he was calling a bluff. He thought he could summon the Prime Minister of Canada to Washington, hand him a surrender treaty, and watch him sign it on live TV. He forgot who he was dealing with. He treated Mark Carney like a vassal. Carney responded like a central banker closing a bad account. And now you are living in the wreckage. In this special report, we are going deep. We have sources inside the room. We have the leaked details of the document Trump tried to force on Canada. And we have the terrifying economic data that the White House is trying to hide from you right now. This isn't just a trade dispute. This is the divorce. And the U.S. just lost custody of the continent. To understand why Carney walked out, you have to understand what he walked into. This didn't start today. It started 3 days ago at Mar-a-Lago. According to leaked memos from the State Department, Trump's team drafted a document they called the Northern Alignment Protocol. That's a fancy name for an annexation of Canada's economy. We've seen parts of the draft. It wasn't a negotiation. It was a list of demands. Demand number 1, Canada must align its energy export caps with U.S. domestic policy. Translation, Washington decides how much oil Alberta is allowed to sell. Demand number 2, Canada must implement a 100% tariff on all Chinese electric vehicles and battery components within 30 days or face a blanket tariff from the U.S. Demand number 3, the Canadian dollar must be pegged within a specific trading band to the U.S. dollar, essentially stripping the Bank of Canada of its independence. When this document landed on Mark Carney's desk in Ottawa on Tuesday night, sources say he didn't call a cabinet meeting. He didn't call a press conference. He called the CEO of the Royal Bank of Canada. He called the Premier of Quebec. And he called the head of the European Central Bank. He was checking his leverage. Trump thought Carney was coming to Washington to negotiate the terms of his surrender, but Carney was coming to deliver a message. No, he knew the trap Trump was setting. If Carney signed, Canada becomes a 51st state without a vote. If Carney refused, Trump would scream enemy and crash the market. Carney chose option C. He showed up. He sat down. And he let Trump destroy himself. Let's go inside the room. 2 p.m. The doors close. Usually, there is small talk. How was the flight? Good to see you. Not today. Sources say Trump didn't stand up. He didn't offer a hand. He slid a folder across the desk. He reportedly said, Mark, you're killing us. You're killing us with the lumber. You're killing us with the dairy. Sign this and we can be friends. Don't sign it. And I put a 25% tax on every car part crossing the bridge by midnight. Now, picture Mark Carney. This is a guy who stared down the 2008 financial crisis. This is a guy who managed the British economy during Brexit. He doesn't sweat. He didn't open the folder. He looked at the president and said, Mr. President, that document is incompatible with Canadian sovereignty. We will not be signing it, and we will not be negotiating under threat. Trump exploded. He went into what aides call the rally mode. He started listing grievances. He brought up the War of 1812. He brought up Justin Trudeau. He brought up NATO spending. He was shouting. He was trying to physically dominate the space with noise. Carney waited for him to take a breath. Then Carney said the line that will be in the history books. He said, "The United States is our neighbor. You are not our owner. If you want a trade war, you will lose the energy grid in New York State by Friday. Do you want to explain that to your voters?" Trump froze. He's used to politicians who worry about polls. He's not used to a technocrat who knows exactly where the power lines run. Carney stood up. He buttoned his jacket. He said, "When you are ready to treat Canada as a G7 partner, call me. Until then, we are done." Trump yelled after him. "You walk out that door, you destroy your country." Carney kept walking. He knew something Trump didn't. He knew the markets were listening. You want proof this is real? Look at the machines. Modern trading isn't done by guys in jackets yelling on a floor anymore. It's done by algorithms, high-frequency trading bots that scrape news headlines in milliseconds. The second the headline, "Carney leaves White House early," hit the Bloomberg terminal, the algorithms dumped the dollar. Look at this spike. That is the US dollar losing value against the euro and the yen in seconds. Why? Because the world relies on the North American trade bloc being stable. If Canada and the US aren't trading, the US economy is essentially an island. Trump broke the stability. The machines sold the risk. Receipt number 2. Look at Detroit. Look at Michigan. General Motors and Ford halted trading on their stocks for 15 minutes due to volatility. Why? Because your car isn't made in America. It's made in North America. The parts cross the border 7 times before the car is finished. A steering wheel from Ontario, a chassis from Ohio, electronics from Quebec, assembly in Michigan. If Carney walks away, that border thickens. If that border thickens, those factories stop. Trump thinks he's punishing Canada. But the auto executives in Detroit know the truth. If this fight lasts a week, American workers go home. The lines shut down. And here is the third receipt, the one nobody is talking about. Usually when Trump does something wild, you hear a chorus of Republicans defending him. You hear his allies on TV saying he's a master negotiator. Today, silence. Check the feeds. The senators from border states, North Dakota, Montana, New York, they are quiet. They know this isn't a game. They know their farmers rely on Canadian rail to move their grain. They know their refineries need Canadian crude to make gas. They are terrified because they realize Trump didn't coordinate this. He didn't plan this. He just got angry. And finally, receipt number 4, this is the one that should keep you up at night. If you think this is just politicians yelling at each other, look at the ocean. We have access to live maritime transponder data. Look at these 3 ships off the coast of Maine. These are heavy crude tankers carrying millions of barrels of Canadian oil destined for refineries in the Northeast United States. They were scheduled to dock in Portland tomorrow morning. At 2:40 p.m., exactly 15 minutes after Carney left the White House, all 3 ships changed course. They aren't coming to America anymore. They are heading east to Rotterdam, to Europe. This is the receipt that Trump's advisors are terrified of. Carney isn't just threatening to cut the line. He is actively redirecting the energy supply. He's showing the White House that Canadian oil is a global commodity. And if the U.S. doesn't want to treat Canada with respect, Europe is happy to pay full price. Those ships turning around isn't a negotiation. It's a literal divestment from the American future. You have to understand the psychology here. This is why Trump is losing control of the narrative. For his entire career, Donald Trump has operated on one principle: leverage. He believes that because America is big, America wins. He believes that because he is loud, you will be quiet. It worked on some people. It worked on weak leaders who needed his validation. But it doesn't work on a central banker. Mark Carney isn't a reality TV star. He ran the Bank of England. He ran the Bank of Canada. He manages trillions of dollars in climate finance. He understands risk. He understands leverage. Trump looks at a trade deal and sees a win-lose battle. Carney looks at a trade deal and sees a system. When Trump threatened to blow up the system today, he expected Carney to panic. He expected Carney to beg, "Please, Mr. President, don't hurt us." But Carney knows something Trump refuses to admit. The United States needs Canada just as much as Canada needs the United States. Maybe more in the sectors that actually matter to national security. Uranium, aluminum, heavy crude oil for the refineries in Texas, hydroelectricity powering New York City and Boston. Trump thinks he's holding a gun to Canada's head, but Carney knows that gun is pointed at the American foot. By walking out, Carney denied Trump the conflict. Trump feeds on the back and forth. He feeds on the drama. If Carney had stayed and argued, Trump would have won the news cycle. He would have tweeted about crazy Carney and weak Canada. But you can't fight someone who isn't there. Look at what Trump is doing right now. He's posting. He's flailing. He's claiming he kicked Carney out. He's claiming he canceled the meeting. It's desperate. He's trying to rewrite the reality that we all just saw. He's trying to convince you that the car crashing into the wall was part of the plan. It wasn't. He lost control of the room. Now he's losing control of the market, and soon he's going to lose control of his own party. While Trump was raging on Truth Social, Mark Carney was executing a plan that has been in the works for months. This is what makes Carney different. He doesn't get mad. He gets options. We are calling it the Carney Doctrine. It's based on a simple, terrifying premise. The United States is no longer a safe place to do business. We have confirmed reports that while Carney was in the White House, his finance minister was on a secure video link with the European Union. They are activating Plan B. 1, the critical minerals lock. Canada sits on some of the largest reserves of lithium, cobalt, and uranium in the world. The U.S. military needs these for fighter jets. Carney is threatening to prioritize sales to Europe and Japan. Imagine the Pentagon calling for uranium and being told, sorry, it's already sold to France. 2, the Mexican alliance. This is the part that really scares the White House. Carney is coordinating with the president of Mexico. If Canada and Mexico refuse to play ball with Trump simultaneously, the USMCA collapses. Trump can fight one neighbor. He cannot fight both borders at the same time. Carney is reframing the narrative. He is telling the world Trump is the risk. Canada is the hedge and the world is buying it. While the U.S. dollar is crashing, the Canadian dollar is stabilizing against the euro. Investors are looking at Canada and seeing a grown-up. They look at Washington and see a toddler with a hand grenade. But let's bring this home. Let's talk about you. Because while Trump and Carney fight in palaces, the bill lands on your kitchen table. If this standoff continues for 72 hours, here is what happens in America. In the Midwest, thousands of auto workers get sent home, not laid off, furloughed, just until the parts get here. But the parts aren't coming. The paychecks stop. The rent doesn't. In the Farm Belt, farmers in North Dakota send their grain north by rail to reach ports in Vancouver because the Mississippi is too expensive or too slow. If Carney shuts the rail access, that grain rots in the silo. Trump loves the farmers at his rallies today. He just bankrupted 1,000 of them. In the Northeast, you turn on your lights in Boston, that power comes from Hydro-Quebec. Carney isn't going to shut off the lights. He's not a monster, but he can raise the price. He can put a volatility surcharge on every kilowatt sent south. Your electric bill is about to become a hostage letter. This is the reality Trump ignores. He thinks tariffs are a tax on foreign countries. They aren't. They are a tax on you. Carney knows this. He is banking on the fact that American voters will feel the pain faster than Trump can spin the lie. There is a story coming out of the room right now that I want to share. It's small, but it tells you everything. When Carney stood up to leave, Trump reportedly shouted at him, "You need us. You'll be back in an hour begging." Carney stopped at the door. He didn't turn around. He didn't look back at the president. He spoke to the Secret Service agent holding the door. He said, we're ready to go. That's it. We're ready to go. It wasn't a message to Trump. It was a dismissal. It was the sound of an adult deciding they are done dealing with a child. That moment, Carney's back turned to the President of the United States, is the image that will define this presidency. It's the image of America being left behind. So where do we go from here? We are in uncharted waters. Scenario A, the Trump double down. This is the most likely. Trump feels humiliated. He wakes up tomorrow and announces 100% tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum. He closes the border crossings. Result, the U.S. stock market crashes another 1,000 points. The Chamber of Commerce revolts. Republicans in Congress start to panic as their donors lose billions. It's economic suicide, but his ego might demand it. Scenario B, the quiet walk back. Trump's advisors, the few sane ones left, get in his ear. They tell him, sir, if you do this, we lose the midterms. We lose the economy. They try to spin it. They claim they are rescheduling. They try to get Carney back on the phone. But here's the problem. Carney might not pick up. Carney has the leverage now. He can wait. Trump can't. Scenario C, the global realignment. This is the dangerous one. Canada accelerates deals with China and the EU. They sign a security pact that excludes the U.S. They stop coordinating on continental defense. Basically, the Fortress North America concept dies. The U.S. becomes isolated on its own continent. I don't know which one will happen, but I know this. The status quo is dead. You cannot have a leader walk out of the Oval Office and just go back to normal the next day. The trust is gone. The handshake is worthless. History isn't made by treaties. It's made by moments. Today was a moment. Donald Trump tried to break Canada. Instead, he broke the illusion of American control. Mark Carney walked out, and he took the reality of the global economy with him. Now we wait for the fallout. We wait for the prices to rise, the markets to shake, and the tweets to fly. But make no mistake, the power shifted today. It shifted north, and it shifted away from the man behind the resolute desk. I want to know what you think. Is Carney a hero for standing up for sovereignty, or is he reckless for risking a trade war with the U.S.? Is Trump playing 4D chess, or did he just flip the board because he was losing? Let me know in the comments. I'm reading every single one. And if you want to know what happens when the markets open tomorrow and they will panic, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because the news is going to try to spin this. We are going to tell you the truth. This is the breakup. Don't blink. And remember, in these turbulent times, the implications extend even further into the realms of international alliances and long-term economic strategies that could reshape the world order for generations to come.